Good morning. This is Jovine from Behind the Markets. Happy Tuesday. Today is January 14th. Today I want to talk about TikTok and why I support a TikTok ban or a forced divestiture of the company. And really what I want to talk about is I want to help you imagine something, okay? I want to help you imagine something. Imagine that we're at the end of this year or in the beginning of 2026. Let's say in the next 12 months, next 8 months, next 14 months. And all of a sudden, the Pentagon, the U.S. Pentagon, the military, through its satellites, starts to see a massive Chinese military buildup right on its eastern coast, 108 miles away from Taiwan, right? Now, remember, why is Taiwan important? Taiwan has the chips, the semiconductors that make everything in our lives function, from our phones to AI to our chips on our F-35 planes. Our whole system is based on these semiconductors that come from Taiwan. It is like modern day oil. It is critical to the functioning of our country. Now, let's say that the Pentagon notices on a Sunday night, they notice a bunch of Chinese military ships and assets being moved over to that area where it looks like they're going to try to invade Taiwan or take Taiwan. Now, this is not a far-fetched concern. There are people high in government, admirals, people right there, defense secretaries, former congressmen, people saying China says they're going to do this. President Xi Jinping says they're going to do this by 2027. Now, all of a sudden, it's as this is happening, it's like TikTok flipped the switch. And all of a sudden, they start pumping out messages to the 200 million Americans who are apparently on this thing. And the messages look like this: your government is lying to you. China is peaceful. America wants war. It starts hammering all these pro-Chinese Communist Party messages to hundreds of millions of people. And at the very same time, you have all of a sudden theorists and other people start talking. These are talking heads that are acting on behalf of China. They start infiltrating. So a lot of these influencers start saying, why is America doing this? Why are we a warmongering nation? Even though it's China who's about to launch an invasion of Taiwan. Now, basically, what would happen is, since TikTok videos are easy to share across all platforms, all of a sudden, people would start sharing them on Instagram, on Facebook, on X, and all of a sudden, Chinese propaganda would be pumping out all these pro-Chinese messages, all these anti-American messages. And as the Pentagon is really getting ready to defend Taiwan, because remember, it has those critical chips, instead of us being unified in this mission, China has pumped out all this pro-Chinese propaganda, and we start fighting ourselves. At the very moment when unity and a show of strength is necessary, America starts fighting itself. Maybe this is fake news. Oh, people who believe we should defend Taiwan are sheeple. You know what I mean? That kind of ridiculous word. This is an information war. Throughout the history of war, information war is part of it. You think of Iraq, American soldiers dropping leaflets. You think of in World War II, the Voice of America, radio stations telling people what's going to happen. Here, the information war moves at a speed and magnitude that has never been considered before, ever been considered before. So basically, through TikTok, China has access to infiltrate and post anti-American, pro-Chinese messages. And let me tell you something, this is already happening on both sides. Both sides do it. The game is the game. Everybody understands that. But both sides do it. For example, right now, what Russia and China do, are they really focused on trying to influence elections? They have vast operations here. And what they do is they create meme factories, and they try to pump out these little memes that they call wedge issue memes. Little tiny wedge issues that get us fighting among each other, transgenders, high school kids in sports, or just these wedge issues, abortion, all these other things. They get us just fighting. They keep feeding that. But if this were to happen, now imagine Hitler had this kind of capacity in World War II, where when he invaded, Poland, or he invaded France, he actually started pumping all this propaganda to Americans, and we were confused as to what we started arguing with each other as to whether we should do it. And as we were arguing each other, they just completed the whole deal there. And it was no big deal to us. So basically what's happening here is TikTok represents a threat to national security. You cannot have the Chinese government owning a mouthpiece that touches 200 million people and can get us to fight each other. So I support a forced sale of TikTok there. And that's like not closing the border at the South. From an information point of view, you can't let that happen. It's just ridiculous. I have forced my children, my daughter, off of TikTok, and it's for this very reason, because I know that they're getting infiltrated with Chinese propaganda over there with a bunch of different things. I'm not going to go into the whole thing right now, but I've seen examples of it as they've come out. Anyway, I just wanted to touch on this issue, why this is very important. It is a way for China to encourage us to fight amongst ourselves. The United States is the strongest country on earth. If we are united, nobody could defeat us. But if we are divided, anybody could defeat us. As Lincoln said, a house divided against itself cannot stand. And that is the truth. So their best attempt is to try to get us to fight ourselves. I support this, and I hope that it gets passed by the Supreme Court. Anyway, I hope you have a wonderful day.